What brought you to your initial decision of going into the degree you chose?
I've been playing video games my entire life and have always wanted to be a developer, but have had no clear path on how to get there. I've worked plenty of IT jobs growing up to prove that I had the problem-solving capabilities and the computer knowledge, but up until very recently, I didn't even know how game engines worked. Last year, using nothing but Python 3.0 and code blocks, I recreated Pong from scratch, and the emotions I had felt just from getting those little walls to move up and down and to see the ball bounce back and forth between them was all the inspiration I needed to make this dream become a reality.
Who is the program director for your degree program at Full Sail?
The director for the game development program here at Full Sail University is Sean Kendall, brother to the director of the 3D and game arts programs, Chad Kendall.
What type of software and/or programming languages will you be using in your degree?
After doing a little bit of research on the game development program via Full Sail 1, it appears that Full Sail University will be providing me with a variety of hardware and software for my learning journey. Specifically, I'll be getting an MSI Raider laptop for gaming and development, plus a tablet for art and resource management. With the hardware provided, I won't be spending a lot of time in the software like Microsoft Projects, which is designed to help us schedule and lay out a resource budget and plan for any projects we undertake. Microsoft Visual Studio, which is an IDE, will be writing and storing all of our code, and Microsoft Visio Pro to help build storyboards and draw concept art.
From your research, what degree skills do you think you would like to focus on and why?
In my personal opinion, game development requires artists to have a solid foundation in two things: math and problem solving. The process of creating a game is to trick the player into thinking they have stepped into a living, breathing world with using nothing but polygons and fancy lighting effects. So let's take Half-Life 2's first tutorial for example. The player gets off the train and walks up to a combine, who then demands them to pick up that can. All of the animations and voice lines are scripted depending on what actions the player might take in picking up and throwing said can. Even the process of throwing the can requires a developer to have programmed a solid physics engine that can properly simulate the velocity and mass of a can being chucked into a garbage bin. Programming is an extremely time-consuming and grueling process, as developers can lose an entire day's worth of work just trying to figure out why something isn't running, just because you added a brand new if statement to the mix. All of this to say is that in order to get the game working, you're going to need to know how to add 2 plus 2. In order to get the game to continue to work, you're going to need to understand why the engine does what it does.
What do you think would be the hardest classes that you would run into? Why do you think they would be difficult for you?
Physical science for sure. If I had to assume the contents of this course just based on its name, the idea of programming my own physics engine sends a shiver down my spine. As I'm going to go into with my next segment, I have dipped my toes into a few different programming languages already and love the process of typing for hours just so I can make my character move left and right and float a little bit when he jumps. But I'm not afraid to admit that I'm still relatively a novice with holes in my knowledge that I would like Full Sail to help fill, especially when it comes to adding in velocity, x equals blah blah blah, and gravity into the mix. Scary.
What do you think would be the easiest classes that you would run into? Why?
The courses that I'm looking forward to the most are actually my programming courses. Programming was the sign I needed to read in order to get this journey rolling. I had a few jobs previously where I messed around with stuff like the SQL databases, but never have I actually gotten to write anything in a language professionally. It wasn't until I was introduced to Free Code Camp on YouTube and followed the tutorial on learning the basics of Python that I really got deep into this. After a little bit more research, I came across a tutorial on how to make Pong and Tetris using nothing but Pygame and Turtle, respectively, in Python 3.0. The moment I got everything looking right for Pong, The moment I got all the Tetris blocks falling correctly, it dawned on me that programming is an art form that I can definitely see myself getting engrossed with.
How would you go about succeeding in those hard classes? What can you do now to help prepare for them?
I spend a lot of my free time watching video essays and tutorials on older game engines and how they work. I believe as time progresses, as long as I stick with my weekly schedule and note-taking routines, I'll have nothing to fear. Especially since these classes are going to be group environments where I'll be able to discuss all the things I'm learning from surfing the web and figuring out ways I can apply them in class.
How would you break down your time to make sure you succeed in your classes?
Stick to a schedule. No one lives a healthy life just by doing what's in front of them when they have to. If I'm going to succeed in this accelerated learning program, I'm going to need to dedicate the recommended 30 to 40 hours to my coursework. But alongside that, I'm going to need to figure out how to balance my social life and my work life on top of this. The plan of attack we had created at the start of this month is going to be something that I plan to update and refer to in every single class until the day I graduate. Thank you, TEM. I appreciate it.